Google showing up everyone in the mid-range space with the release of the Pixel 8a. The closest match to it in Apple's lineup is the third generation iPhone SE, which at this point is more than 2 years old. That may not seem like a fair comparison, but the $70 price difference between the two phones keeps Apple's phone in the conversation. In my Pixel 8a versus iPhone SE photo shootout, I'll grade them in 10 categories to ultimately determine a winner. Being the newer phone, the Pixel 8a benefits from newer hardware. It features a 64 megapixel main camera, 13 megapixel ultrawide, and a 13 megapixel selfie camera on the front. The dual camera system is much more appealing than the iPhone SE's single 12 megapixel rear camera and 7 megapixel front facing camera. Don't automatically count out the iPhone SE, even when its rear camera doesn't have the pixel crushing numbers of the Pixel 8a's 64 megapixel main camera. That's because when there's good lighting outdoors, the iPhone SE can still turn out solid results, as evident in these shots. Not only does it match the Pixel 8a in detail, but I'm convinced it also has the better sharpness, which I can see when I zoom into the speed limit sign. However, it's worth mentioning that the Pixel 8a uses pixel binning with its 64 megapixel camera to produce 16 megapixel stills. There's always the option to stick with full resolution, but most people would stick with the downsized 16 megapixel option to take up less storage space. Lastly, I want to point out how the Pixel 8a does better in drawing out details in the shadows, like toward the top of the tree on the right side. Here's another example of why the iPhone SE continues to be a standout despite being more than 2 years old. When it comes to dynamic range, I like how it evens out the exposure between the shadows and highlights in the photos above. Yes, the Pixel 8 does offer more detail, like in the handicap sign out in front of the CVS, but it also has a habit of underexposing the shadows. For this reason, I'm giving this one to the iPhone SE. Neither phone technically has a dedicated macro mode, but I still want to show how they perform for close-up photography. The Pixel 8a clearly has the sharper, more detailed photo of this pink flower, which is really prominent when I zoom into the ends of the stem. Both phones produce the creamy bokeh that softens the background, leaving the subjects in full focus. While the iPhone SE has the more saturated colors, the Pixel 8a paints a more realistic look. I'm kind of surprised that it's neck and neck so far. The Pixel 8a is one of the best cheap phones around for many reasons, including how it takes excellent photos in all sorts of lighting conditions. In my Pixel 8a review, I detail how its value as a mid-range phone is amplified by the inclusion of AI features and the fact that it has the best software support in any mid-range device, with 7 years of major Android and security updates. In contrast, the iPhone SE remains Apple's only sub-$500 offering in its lineup. Obviously, I love the price and think it's the iPhone to go with on a budget, but it may be a long time before we see an iPhone SE 4 ready to replace this model, given how rumors hint at a 2025 release. I expect the Pixel to pull away from now. The iPhone SE again has a habit of saturating colors in these photos of the Crayola box. There's nothing wrong with it, and I'd argue others may prefer it, but the Pixel 8a simply offers truer to life tones. Adding on that, I also like how the Pixel 8a has the more balanced color temperature throughout the shot, whereas the iPhone SE skews green for some odd reason. A point to the Pixel. Where it impresses me more is how it's able to neutralize the brighter areas of the building, making the colors of the flag pop out more. Furthermore, the Pixel 8a also boosts the exposure in the shadows, which is noticeable with the carts racked up in the background and the facade of the SUV in the middle of the scene. As for the iPhone SE, it's still a nice composition that holds up well, especially when it comes to sharpness, but the overall look isn't as appealing as the Pixel 8a. Under the artificial lighting conditions of these indoor shots above, the iPhone SE pulls out a slightly brighter overall image, but zooming into different parts of the photos reveals how the Pixel 8a is better. In the shadowed areas of the tree in the middle of the shot, the Pixel 8a draws out more detail in the leaves, while pulling in better detail throughout the shot. These two factors alone make the Pixel 8a the better one for indoor shots. Taking photos on both phones, there's a little more that I like about the shooting experience with the Pixel 8a, but it's not by a huge stretch. If you crave a little bit more control in how you take your photos, just like myself, I like how the Pixel 8a gives me them with options for white balance, brightness, shadows, and more. There's also the option to shoot in RAW and use hand gestures for a time or two with the Pixel 8a, which you don't get with the iPhone SE. But to be fair, it still gets the job done for most people. My only complaint to this day about the iPhone SE's camera app, which also applies to all iPhones, is the annoyance I have about some of the camera's options still force me to exit the app and access them in the general settings menu, like switching on the grid line and the level marker. The first thing that stands out is the wider field of view with the Pixel 8a's selfie camera. camera, which is better for group shots when you have a few friends in the shot. Beyond that, it's still a clear win for the Pixel 8a for how it keeps everything in the shot crystal clear and sharp, especially with the background stuff. The Pixel 8a also does better at toning down the highlights, which cast a better exposure with the sky and bright spots in the far background behind me. For what it delivers, the iPhone SE still has good qualities like its sharp details and accurate skin tones. With portrait photography, just know that the Pixel 8a has a much tighter crop, so you'll need to step back a little just to get the right composition. I really love the creamy look of the background in both photos above, but the Pixel 8a pulls in greater detail and clarity when I zoom into my face. I can still make out a lot of my facial features with the iPhone SE, but the Pixel 8a has greater definition that unfortunately shows more of my wrinkles. In another upset, the iPhone SE produces the better panoramic shot above, mainly for the fact that its picture is much brighter. The green of the lawn has the shine that gets my attention over the underexposed tone of the Pixel 8a, while the detail is much more pronounced with the iPhone SE as well. Finally, I come to the phone's low-light performances, which needless to say is a one-sided affair that shows the greatest disparity between them. My backyard's always my go-to spot for checking out their low-light performances because it's nearly in pitch black conditions, with a few sources of ambient light in the far background. When it comes to what my eyes can see in real life, I can say that the iPhone SE's photos show it exactly. It's so dark that I can't see even the details of the leaves in the trees. That's the result of no night mode support in Apple's cheapest phone. In contrast, the Pixel 8a draws out these missing details with the extra push of night sight, and as a result, makes it the superior phone for low-light photography. It's like I had a nearby light source illuminating the scene because the Pixel 8a reveals the individual leaves on the branches and other details around the tree's bark. Really, were you surprised by the outcome? Heading into it, I already had the feeling that Pixel 8a would come out victorious because there have been a lot of improvements in camera tech over 2 years. However, I will admit I was surprised that the 2-year-old iPhone SE can still deliver outstanding photos that can hold up. In the end, it's the Pixel 8a that wins this shootout after I looked at the 200 photos I captured between the two. I'm also not factoring in how the Pixel 8a also benefits from having a dedicated ultra-wide camera, which is an added benefit for those times when I need to capture more of the scene without being forced to move a step back. And when it comes to low light, aside from its superior performance, the Pixel 8a has the extra editing tools that help me to get better looking results in post with AI tools. I frequently rely on Magic Eraser and Magic Editor to remove or move unwanted stuff, while Best Take saves me the hassle of editing photos on my own if someone in a group photo is looking away. When I take these AI features into consideration, on top of the Pixel 8a's better camera performance, it's the better phone for photography hands down. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. You can follow us on all socials at Tom's Guide for on-the-ground reporting and behind-the-scenes coverage, and follow me at John C. Velasco. I'll see you in my next video.